we go. All right, here we are. Welcome, everybody. Let's say a prayer. So, placing my hands on my heart, taking that deep cleansing breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this opportunity to come together, to be the two or more who are gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to know the truth, to hold the truth for each other, especially if we're having challenges and might be having a hard time holding it for ourselves. I just know that this is one of the reasons why our brothers and sisters are our salvation, and we're grateful for this community that we have here that gets to share what their insights are from the course and what their challenges are with what we're learning and how to integrate it within ourselves, how to align with the teaching that we feel in our hearts is the truth, but is not always an easy pill to swallow when our personalities become involved. So we're so very grateful for this opportunity to speak the truth, to hold the truth, to know the truth for each other, and for all beings. We're grateful for our mighty companions that walk with us and talk with us, all of our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask that they bless this call, bless this conversation, bless the technology we get to use to come together, bless all those here and all who may listen later. And we're so very grateful to share those blessings and the truth of what we are, the love, the innocence, the beautiful essence of light that we are with everyone, because we're one with them. In grace and gratitude, let it be. And so it is. Amen. So welcome, everybody. So we are in chapter 30, section 7, the new interpretation. And it's good to see you all. So I had so many things highlighted here, but I think what I would like to start with, because this is, okay, so I'm going to first start with just a section of paragraph 3 and then move into the end of paragraph 4 and a little tiny bit of 5. I'm all over the book, you guys. So anyways, in paragraph 3, he says, only a constant purpose can endow events with stable meaning. And the constant purpose, I feel, in my understanding, is the peace of God. That is the only thing that I desire. The only thing that I want is the peace of God. So that is the constant purpose. And then in paragraph 4, a little less than halfway through that paragraph, he says, you do not have to judge, for you have learned one meaning has been given everything, and you are glad to see it everywhere. It cannot change, because you would perceive it everywhere, unchanged by circumstance. And so you offer it to all events and let them offer your stability. And that one meaning is that everything is for our good. Again, not an easy pill to swallow, but everything is for our good. And then in the middle of 5, towards the end, he says, there could be no thought of sacrifice apart from this idea. Everything is for our good. No matter how much our personality fights that idea, because we can't see the big picture, because we are just within the tiny personality self, we cannot see beyond all time and space. We cannot see all of time and space. So there is not a single thing that is not for our good. And sometimes that just makes me want to scream and kick and throw a fit, but damn it, it's true. And it's not always fun to accept that. So that's where I'm starting us off with. Who else would like to share what they got from this section? Go ahead, Nancy Gale.
You're gonna be kidding. It's like my mom set all the rules, right? And I had to follow them. So I'm following along the rules, and all of a sudden, like one day, it's like I hit this thing. It's like, what's wrong? You did something wrong. I said, well, I just followed the rule, right? She changed the rule, but didn't tell me. And that's the way the whole was all of my growing up. And I said, so this is why it was drove me nuts. It's like, and why I hated the whole thing. So that's the answer to that's like a lifelong of reacting. God, I followed your rule, but then you changed it. You didn't tell me, so now it's different. I'll follow this rule. But that's the answer. Oh, thank you. I'm having all kinds of answers like this. But in the last few months, it's like, and it's like, since I started the chemo and everything, it's like they're coming fast and furious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, when I was reading this, like, I could see where it applied to my life. I could see where it applied to every single person here, because I know some of the struggles that everybody is going through or has gone through. And so, yeah, I just know that it was true. So I'm going to pause to turn some lights on because it's getting dark, but I see Carla's raised her hand. If you want to unmute, honey, go right ahead. And you're still muted.
Okay, I'm working through my iPhone, so it's a little challenging. So there's a lot in this reading. But I'll address first what was talked about, because it feels really important to me. Because we talk about I, and believe me, I, how can you communicate without that? It's not possible. Yet, who is the I that's communicating in that moment? That we all know about it. We all say the words. I know, and I'm not speaking about anybody else, but about myself. I've done the same thing. That we are spirit, the divine self, having a human experience, and we believe I know I did, and I still do for you, and they still believe the thoughts and the feelings are the truth. There's me. It's how I feel. But who is the I? I mean, if there is only love, how can I feel angry or judgmental or whatever, upset? I mean, who is feeling that? It's the ego. And it's, the phone is challenging, but it talks about the script. And I know the course has said the script is written, but in the reading, it said we assign the meaning, but you assigned a meaning, and it says in the light of goals, but we assign the meaning to the script, which is, I think, the second lesson, right? We give the meaning to everything. And so the script is written, yes, everything. God is so incredible. Everything has been foreseen, everything that we could possibly ever choose. And the circumstances that come from that choice. And then we choose, and then we're given the freedom to choose whatever we wish. And so we, I put it in words, are like a co-writer of the script and the actor. So we write the part of the script that is activated because everything has been foreseen. So we write, how would we do that? We do that by our choices, by believing the unloving thoughts or the loving thoughts, whatever we choose. And it's, I don't know, I really resonated with that when it talked about the script, and because I'm still learning, and what is learning? It's really remembering, because as the divine self, as the one that is one with God, we actually know it. But who is learning is the personality self, which is the ego, which is the one that thinks it's separate. And so, what am I getting to here? I guess I've learned, and I forget every day and all the time. I'm 61 and I've lived, at least in this life, for most of my life, believing my thoughts are something and how I feel is real. It's the truth. But if only love is real, then if I am connected to anything else, how can that be real? And so there was one more thing. It does say fear is I think it's in paragraph 3, fear is a judgment never satisfied. It's a presence has no meaning but to show you wrote a fearful script. I think you read the next one, but it's just very challenging, because if all minds are shared, then if someone believes a judgment, it's going to come into my mind. And so it's my choice to choose whether I want to believe that or not, whether that's something I desire to energize it, have energized it a lot through speaking. But I'm remembering who I am. And that's the whole key, is to identify with the loving self and to realize who is motivating this choice. Is it ego, or is it a separate self, whatever, something other than love or love? And so that's all I see in these words anymore. And soon, that's all I'm going to see in everybody's choice, because everybody gets to choose whatever they desire to choose. They can write whatever script that they desire, and part of the script is already written, but they can write. And what do I want? Am I interested in joining them in the upset? If they see upset, say I've had my windshield spit on when there was a lot of anti-gay stuff going on. I've had people, my memories had experiences of people treating them in a thoughtless manner, that they decide that, something tells them it's rude or something, some mean judgment. And I'm just, if I join them in getting mad back, which I still do, then what am I doing? And that's the question that's I'd like to ask. What am I choosing? So that's what I got out of this whole script thing. Thank you. I'll try to mute myself. You go to the next person.
Thank you, Carla. That was, yeah, all of it. Yes. Catherine.
Yeah, I had picked that same section, and excuse me, I have to move the cat for just a moment so I can read what I wrote, because I love the part where it said fear is never justified. It has no meaning, but to show you, you wrote a fearful script and are afraid. And then what I, in doing further reading on this, I have to remember that love and the law go together. Love and the law go together. And we forget that sometimes. And that was my remembering that it's up to us to, we can recognize when we're having those unkind thoughts or those scary thoughts. And it's like, what I'm practicing is like, oh, there it is. To just be in that noticing, I've gone to that kind of thinking. Let me choose again. And the other thing I'm getting from this is, there's so much reading right now about this and that the world is all good. There's good. And yet we see this ugliness. I mean, we're choosing to see this. This is our perception. And so something in us is wanting to heal. That's the way I look at it. Something is wanting to heal. So let me go ahead and observe that. And let me do my best to choose again. Let me choose that I want to hold, that I know on some level that God is good and there is good all around us. Let me try and see that. Let me see that what is being presented to me is something so that I can choose again. I get to see the opposite and say, I really don't like that. It doesn't feel good. Let me hold this love, this peace. And I know that we're forgiven, but it is hard to remember that. It's hard to remember even that I might have guilt within me. But I'm willing to accept that there's something I haven't yet seen. And let me just speak those words to myself that I am willing. I like this stuff because it's encouraging us to choose again. And that we think, I know this is where I'm at, I think that this is the solution I want. And yet, what I've forgotten is that the highest and best? And it may not be what I think I like, but let me be so immersed that the highest and best is what we want for each of us. That's what I want to immerse myself in. And I like this reminder. So thank you for calling that out.
Yeah, beautiful, Catherine. Thank you. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share from what they got from the reading? Leslie, welcome. Missed you.
Thank you. I miss you guys too. I can sum up this chapter in just a few words. What I took out of this section was, if you don't judge anything, you'll be at peace. It sounds so simple. It really does, but it's the truth. If you can't judge something as good or bad or wrong or right or should not happen, or just accept reality as it is and know that in some realm, it's all good. So I had highlighted everything everything everybody's already talked about. So that section 3, the end, fear is a judgment never justified. Its presence has no meaning but to show you wrote a fearful script and are afraid accordingly, but not because the thing you fear has fearful meaning in itself, but it's because we judge it as fearful. So I was happy. I basically felt like I understood most of this section. So that was nice.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. I love too how because you know what? Fear comes up. And so he says in 6, the Holy Spirit's goal gives one interpretation, meaningful to you and to your brother. Thus can you communicate with him and he with you in symbols that you both can understand. The sacrifice of meaning is undone. And then a little later on, he says, in any thought of loss, there is no meaning. It is part of a distorted script, which cannot be interpreted with meaning. In 7, do not interpret out of solitude. For what you see means nothing. It will shift in what it stands for, and you will believe the world is an uncertain place in which you walk in danger and uncertainty. It is but your interpretations which are lacking in stability, for they are not in line with what you really are. This is a state so seemingly unsafe that fear must rise. And I mean, that is the whole purpose of why we come together. That's the whole purpose of why we come together. We share our challenges. We share where we're having difficulty accepting and embodying what we're learning, what we're reading, what we know somewhere deep in our hearts is the truth. And this is why our brothers and sisters are our salvation. So I'm so glad that, he is saying in no uncertain terms that the peace of God is everything, that everything is for your good, and that when you don't judge it, you will understand that. But your brothers and sisters are your salvation. So don't go it alone. Don't go it alone, because that's where it's scary. Yeah. Nancy Gal.
I forgot when I read this. The first sentence that I stuck out was like 7. Do not interpret us out of solitude, which is the way I had to live my whole life. I had one scenario pointed out, one supposed truth pointed out, and I had no access to anybody else to check it out. And I thought that was the first thing that stuck out to me. And then the second one was the what I already said. But back in 2, where you started out, you were just talking about the only one purpose. But it goes right back to first sentence in 2. What do your scripts reflect except your plans for what the day should be? And thus, meaning this is the way you judge disaster and success, advance, retreat, and gain and loss, all these things. So that it's like starts out in that first sentence, and it says, and then it goes on, and it says, that's why we judge what we, the way we do. And he's saying only one purpose, constant, that doesn't change, can endow the events with a stable meaning, but it must accord one meaning to all of them. And then you go, you were just talking about that's why, and if we're all one, there's one sun, and we have that one meaning, that's how we can communicate. And it's like, if they're all different ones, then we're like, I don't understand you, I don't see you. Anyway, I'm done.
Exactly, Nancy Gill. Thank you. Mark.
Yeah. Well, on this point about do not go it alone, I want to say something that I've said before, which I find very helpful for myself, is like, do not go it alone, but you are never alone. And the way to feel that, for me, has been very helpful to go back to go back in myself, and then for me it's helpful to like when you remember a moment when you weep or cry, like, and where when you do that and you just let the feelings go, you feel a certain comfort inside yourself. But you don't have to cry or weep to get back to that place. If you know where you got the comfort, where in yourself you got the comfort, you know where you can go to, well, meet the Holy Spirit or God, or like. So for me, it's really like I'm practicing this a lot to like to go back to that place in my everyday life, and I feel so much. There's so much love in that place, and so I get more and more stabilized in the knowing that I'm never alone, and that's so wonderful.
Beautifully said, Mark. Yeah, and that's like fear, anxiety, depression, that all comes from isolation. That all comes from isolation because we don't share authentically what is our true self. We're not being honest with ourselves. We're not being honest with those people around us a lot of times. And that is how disease begins. Because then we have this infestation of thoughts that are not true, that are not aligned with ourselves, or we're projecting out into the world what we think people want us to be or how they want us to act. But we know there's something deep within us that knows that that is not in alignment with who we truly are. So then we have, then we can have like rogue cells in our bodies that become disease. Not that we can blame disease on us, because again, the script is already written. So there is very likely something in our script when disease comes up that we're to learn from experiencing that. Look exactly what Nancy Gale has been going through with her cancer experience. And I don't know, there's so much to this section. There's so much to this section. And if, when we're holding on to those beliefs, to those judgments, to those ways that we are interpreting the world that is not aligned with the truth, then it can get, concretized in our bodies. And so movement is important. Human touch is important. Allowing ourselves to voice through either talking to somebody that's like-minded, or singing, or reciting poetry, or screaming into a pillow, or whatever, or movement of any kind. Those are ways for us to release, and so like I just shared earlier today with someone an exercise that I have done for myself, and I've suggested for my clients, that when you're having a challenge and it involves somebody else, to find a picture of yourself and that somebody else as a child. And every time a thought of them comes to your mind, you look at those pictures and remember the innocence of what they are, of what you are, of what the other is. And a lot of times it will bring up tears, because you seem to be seeing the outpicturing of them not as that innocent child anymore. You seem to be seeing that outpicturing of yourself not as that innocent child before. And those tears are so cleansing and releasing. And so yeah, all of it. Anyways, I talked enough. Hamira, and then Leslie.
Good morning. I just want to express a lot of gratitude to you, Linda. You just said everything I wanted to say, which is isolation really leads to sickness, and what I'm really grateful for is this forum that you've provided, which even though I feel not very good, I still show up and I share with you guys my honest truth of what's going on. And there's something going on in my script that I'm noticing such unwillingness. The course talks about you need a little unwillingness to really do my part to heal. And I don't know why that resistance is so high. But this one time a week that we meet, for some reason, I'm committed to reading this small section that you assign. And it's in that short amount of time, even that little bit of like something a lift, a shift or something happens. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Yeah, I'm trying to not judge myself, but of course I am judging myself. I am shaming myself and guilting myself for I know better. I'm in the helping profession. How could, you help anybody else if you're like that? All the stuff that goes, and of course that just compounds everything to the point where I paralyze myself from taking any kind of movement towards the light. But I have noticed that, for whatever reason, when it comes to this class, I will read what I need to read, maybe because it's just a short section, maybe because of just knowing that, there's love here, and I show up with what I've read, whatever I took in. And I just wanted to express gratitude for that, because I tell you, it's like I make plans. Okay, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to start. And I've fallen so behind on the lessons where I'm so lost as far as like, okay, well, what should I be doing on a daily basis? Because I'm so far off. I don't even know how to start again. And so I'm grateful for this. And if you have any suggestions, should I go back to lesson 1, start there? I don't know what to do. I'm really, really lost. And like I said, my resistance, or the resistance of the ego, the separate mind in me, appears much stronger than my healed mind right now. It doesn't even feel like I have a healed mind, except when I come here a little bit, tiny bit. I get a little bit of glimpse. So just a lot of gratitude to you, Linda, first and foremost, and everybody else here for providing such a loving space for me to just show up and be honest with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamira. I mean, you are such a demonstration of what courage and strength and commitment to your healing looks like. So I am always so impressed when I see your face or your name pop up when we're here, because I know that the journey that you're on has been incredibly painful and difficult and challenging. And yeah, so you're bringing us along with you. We're bringing you along with us. That's our healing, is togetherness. And I'm so glad you're here. And as far as the lessons, the daily lessons, I know you've probably heard me talk about how, the year that Rudy had his kidney transplant, how I fell so far behind, like weeks behind. So what I was doing basically was beating myself up with my A Course in Miracles daily lessons. I was beating myself up with something that fills my soul normally. And so what I did, and you can check in with yourself and see if this feels right to you, I just started on the lesson for the day of the year that was. Because then I could feel like, because I know so many people do the daily lessons starting at the beginning of the year and going each day. I could feel the collective support of reading the lesson for that day, for that calendar day. And I felt like it helped to lift me, support me, and nurture me in a way that going back to the beginning did not feel.
That's so helpful, Linda, because I think that perfectionistic ego, separate mind part of me says, you're not doing it right. Go back to the beginning. And of course, that seems like such a big task to do. And then I don't do it. So that's a very gentle and yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know brain can be such an asshole sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
So anyways, yeah, embrace all those personality traits and move on from there. Leslie. There you are.
I think a great way perhaps to start too is just list 5 things you're grateful for. You're talking so much about gratitude in your share, and that just came to me that gratitude will always raise your vibration.
Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Love you.
Love you too, honey. What I wanted to share was, it's interesting. I kind of liked what Mark said about, I think what I took, I can't remember exactly what I was going to say now, but I guess I'm having a little problem with isolation, because I'm finding the more spiritual work I do, the less I want to deal with non-spiritual people. And I know it's because I'm judging. If I could not judge a person, then I would be fine with them. But I mean, and the reason I've missed a couple weeks, my brother-in-law, so Scott's older brother, he passed away suddenly. He had an aneurysm, an aortic aneurysm that ruptured, and he basically died instantly. And his wife had died a year before of a heart attack in her sleep. So those poor girls, you know, my nieces. But I got into a little altercation with Scott's sister, which I'm not, it's a big long story, I'm not going to go into it, but I was coming from a place of kindness and she was coming from a place of attack. And I was really glad that what instantly came to my mind was, I can see peace instead of this, and hurting people hurt people. Hurting people hurt people. She is hurting right now, Leslie. Her heart is broken. She's taking it out on you. She is a wounded soul. And this is the 3rd time around death that she and I have had a little issue. So obviously I'm coming from a different place with death than she is, and she really can't handle the way that I'm coming to it from. But I don't want my heart to close, and yet I'm fine if I never see her again. You know, so I mean, I feel like I have forgiven her, and yet is that true? I mean, I get really, it's like, I have so wanted to talk to this group, and I talked to my Miracle Circle on Wednesday, but I haven't talked to any of my work people, you know, because I just am interested in going deeper and not just the fluff, you know, and it's like, I just don't want to deal with her anymore. It's like for 30 years, I have tried and tried and tried, and we're just too total. It's like we speak different languages, you know. And I always say to people, well, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to go out to lunch with her. So to me, that means I don't have to go to Thanksgiving, you know. It's just, it's been really kind of difficult because Scott has been grieving, but in his own way, which is, well, how it looks on the outside is he's not dealing with it, he's not thinking about it, but I know that's not true, you know. So it's just been a little bit difficult, and it's just a couple other things have happened, and I say to my mom, have you found that mountaintop yet where we can just go and be? Because it's so easy to be spiritual with, it's easy to love the lovely, you know. And I would never wish anything harmful or bad for my sister-in-law, but I am tired of dealing with her, and that feels wrong. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you for your honesty, Leslie. I can totally relate to that. You know, I think you may remember me talking about an altercation, you know, not like a bar fight or anything, but a challenge that I had with somebody about a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago. And I kept trying to fix it because that's what a good spiritual student would do. And what I realized was I was not helping her, and I was not helping myself. Every time I reached out to try and fix it, it just got worse and messier. And so, you know, and I feel like kudos to you for not like talking to people that don't have a more spiritual understanding of what you're.
It was hard because I want to say,
Yes.
you want to know what that bitch my sister-in-law did? Boy, you know, I wanted to, but I knew that was not going to be helpful to me or the universe.
Right.
You know?
And we can still embrace those parts of our personality that are like, oh, hell no. you know, we can still embrace those parts, but we do it with a light heart, and we do it with humor, you know, and we know that, you know, we are appearing as having a human experience. So that human part of us, if we would really like to have a peaceful life, I feel that it really is important for us to integrate those human personality traits and not judge them as bad or wrong. You know, just allow what is coming up to come up, and then just love the hell out of yourself, you know, and love the other person as the best you can, knowing that as you're doing it that way, it means that you are not judging her for being who she is, and you are not judging yourself for being who you are.
Right. And I mean, I truly do have compassion for her, because I know the people in her life, and I'm like, honey, I would be the best listener. I know I would be, but
Yeah.
you know, it's just not meant to be. And I'm willing to accept that, and just giving it over to God. If God has a different plan in mind, then I am willing, and I trust that I will hear. But
Yeah.
thank you for your words, Linda. That's helpful. And sometimes I'm like, I just want to be with my, you know, with the Holy Spirit and with Jesus and my spiritual animal and my guardian angel, and let's just
Right.
really just hang out, you know.
Right.
But that's
Yeah.
not this dream world, so that's not always a choice.
Yeah. I mean, you
So.
know, it's easier to be a monk in a mountain, in a cave by yourself, meditating all day, every day, which in
Amen.
itself has its own challenges. But you take that and you try and walk into the world. You know, that's why it says something in the Bible about it's the householders that are the ones that are, you know, the most blessed, because we have so many opportunities for forgiveness. We have so many opportunities for growth. We have so many opportunities to learn and to practice love for
Right.
ourselves and each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I was trying to reach out to her to, because my heart's broken too. I loved, out of all his siblings, that's Kurt was the one I really loved the most.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to reach out in kindness and love and sharing grief and condolences, and to be attacked. And it's just like, she's doing the best she can. You know, her
Right.
heart is broken. She is
Yeah.
doing the best she can. And we are not going to bond over grief. We didn't over her mom or her dad. We, like I said, we had altercations around death. So we obviously, we're just too far apart.
Yeah.
So
And that's
It's-
okay.
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome, honey. Gwen, and then Carla, and then Mary Lee, and then Nancy go.
Thank you. I really feel sensitive what everyone's sharing today. I kind of joined in late because I'm working and I had to finish a call, but I just want to just comment and say, Humira, and unless I appreciate your comments and honesty, Humira, and just know, you know, though we are in our own homes handling whatever in our lives, we aren't alone. We, you know, in a sense, really. I feel like every week or two I have a new drama, you know. This whole section was really interesting, the interpretations we give to things and the situations. And I feel alone right now in a sense that I'm handling something. We quickly on Sunday moved my youngest daughter, Rose, and her 8-year-old son out of her boyfriend's house. In the past, he has been abusive verbally and physically. And I thought, well, the bright side of this story was at least she's not beat up and in the hospital, you know. She decided, you know, to leave. And she is someone that's had trouble with finances and spending and collecting, you know, hoarding in a sense, and has things stored in 2 or 3 houses and a big storage unit. And so she's with me until she gets an apartment, but I have to set boundaries. And it's a problem for me in a sense, because I have my own life and I have my partner is due here in a, you know, maybe 2 weeks or so to spend time with me. And so, you know, my life is disrupted and I love her and I want to help her, but there has to be stipulations, timelines, and agreements. And I know my oldest daughter, Janelle, was like over a week ago, kind of was really appalled to think that I would just not have her move in. And, and I'm like, this is enabling. And my daughter Rose has problems. She needs some counseling. And we've bailed her out of credit card debt 2 or 3 times, at least getting loans to help consolidate, not that we've paid off her bills. So it's like somebody needs help, and sometimes they have to really get to a difficult place before they'll make changes. And so I'm feeling alone in a sense that I have to be the heavy. She's staying with me, and I have to be the one to say, you have 30 days or 60 days to get an apartment. And I'm not going to go beyond that. And I know my daughters, I know they're going to think badly of me. And I have to figure out how to interpret this whole situation, So I really feel for all of us going through these different things. And I appreciate this forum as well, to support one another and have this reading. I feel the same way. I've gotten away from my daily lessons I was doing. I really have got to get back on board, but it's hard when we all have these situations. So thank you. I appreciate all of you.
Gwen, I'm so sorry. And I'm just sending you as much love and support and courage as I can muster. So yeah, I'm just seeing you as just divinely supported by all forms of heavenly helpers, and with everything, and seeing Rose as divinely perfect and complete in her expression of her life, and that you are able to hold strong in your expression of your life and how you would like to be in the world and have peace in your home and your surroundings. So yeah, just my heart's with you. Thank you. I think it was Mary Lee, and then Carla, and then Nancy Gale, if I'm not mistaken. So Mary Lee, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think I'm already unmuted. Yeah. Well, I was just having a lot of thoughts and listening to Humira and Gwen and Leslie, because it seems that we're seeking the peace of God, and if sometimes the regulating of negativity in our lives seems to me to be an important part of having peace. And maybe some of you, or most of you, the book, The Prophecy, I believe it was called, talked about if you could choose your family members, who would you choose? And I might say, well, this morning, I think I would choose all of you who are talking about peace versus the family that I was born into and had after we were adults, in other words, had children, and then that family. It almost seems like there's such a challenge in our life because we can't get away from them. If I had, someone that called themselves a friend, but just constantly invaded my space with negativity, and I would be like, oh, go away. I might be able to get rid of them, which I'm not saying that's the way to cope with it, but I mean, you would have that. But family members, we so often, is there an end? Can we have an end? And like what Gwen was saying, also different ones in our lives. If in the book, The Prophecy, it was saying that we choose them. We choose that. We choose that challenge so that we are challenged to see, you know, see parts of ourselves that we could have peace if we, and in other words, this is kind of hard to express. My sister is very opposite from myself, I feel, because she just wants to see the negative. You could do 10 kind things for her. Someone wrote over here in the chat line, yeah, I gave a t-shirt and then that brings up someone to condemn that action. It's just like many of our ways of striving in this life find this negative influence coming into us that we think, well, I certainly didn't deserve that. I was trying to be giving, or I was, it's hard to think that, did we overall choose that for our challenges? As this book said, that we choose our family, different members of our family, we had on some level chose to challenge us, to help us even see that, oh, and sometimes I think that there can be definitely limits. And I appreciated what Gwen said about, okay, 1 to 2 months, and then, like having to set limitations because perhaps we ourselves aren't going to move forward. I think we know sometimes where it's one toke over the line, like I can only go so far with this. I'm striving to help you at least have more than sinking sand under you, but I can only do so much without it dragging me down with you. I don't know if all those thoughts connected or not, but that's part of what I'm thinking today.
Yeah, that was beautifully expressed, Mary Lee. Yeah. And I loved your reference to one toke over the line. Now I have that song playing in my head. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that in so long, but I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Carla, and then Nancy Gale, you can bring us home.
Okay, I think I have the video. I tried to get the of myself when I was a baby. It's reminded me of what you talked about. That she looks so innocent, and then I forget I'm still innocent. We don't change. We're as God created us, and so I'm still that way. So it seems like I'm addressing what people have spoke about. I'm really talking about myself because I'm really grateful for this forum of looking at my life and seeing my challenges and how it helped me. So it seems like I'll express that, Homera, I remember it only takes a little bit of willingness. It doesn't matter how much you think you have. That's another judgment. You have way more than you ever realize. And the course says it only takes a little bit. Don't worry about where that goes. Know that you have a huge amount of willingness. You're here in the forum. Who just spoke, you chose as your brother experience. I mean, wow. You are very strong. And I used to look at things as trauma and bad and wrong. And I realize now there is no such thing. If there's only love, how is it possible? It's what it really is. I'm seeing it truly is. It's just I am willing. I'm ready for this challenge to grow. So here it is, showing up for me, loving me. Am I willing to love it back? Or am I going to judge it and name it whatever, something? Relationship, those are mostly the most challenging relationships because they're ones we have a heart connected to, but it's not how they treat us, it's how we respond. What they do to us, it's none of that means anything. It's where we are at. And so I speak about it and I forget every day about choosing love and respond with love, and that's okay. I'm not willing to judge that about myself, because that is the most challenging thing to let go of. But I'm going to let go of it. It's going to happen in this lifetime. I've decided. And the Course says something about decisions or something we make. I made that decision. It's not going to change. Love doesn't change. It was a loving decision, and it's there for eternity. Although my body's in here for eternity. So I guess I didn't go to the Course. I just am really challenged with saying what we read and doing the iPhone at the same time. But I'm really, 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 really grateful for all of you who show up and remind me of where I've been, where I'm letting go of, and I can love you and myself and haven't had that experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carla. Nancy Gale, you're next. And Mark, I don't think we'll have time because we're already 2 minutes to the top of the hour. So I'm sorry. If you want to put something in our chat, or if you would like to hold on to it till next week, that would be great.
It's just one sentence, but I can go after Nancy Gill.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Mark.
Okay, it's just one thing that might be helpful for anyone who feels like they're in a very tough time, like Omer. Carolyn Mays talks about the dark night of the soul. That might be helpful.
Thank you, Mark. Nancy Gale.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Okay, here's my, wait a minute, I wrote down this little, I'm constantly these days, this is my go-to daily, hourly, minutely, whatever. Lesson 361 has the thing that has helped me the most. The other thing that has helped me the most, I mean, it's like I just turn it over. That's the lesson, is to turn it over to Spirit, because I could spend hours like, I should do it this way, this way, this way. My brain is like, finally I remember, it's like, and all I have to do is when I turn it over, I just like go like calm. It's like, oh, why didn't I do this like 5 hours ago? I'm learning to do it quicker. I mean, and then at the end it says, if you need a thought, you'll get a thought. If you need silence and quiet, you'll get that. Whatever it is that you need, and the Spirit knows that's what you really need, that's what you'll get. And it always brings peace to your mind, knowing that His way, whatever that is, that guidance, whatever that is the right way for everyone, or the best way for everyone. So I just calm down, and that's like, and then my thing is to watch. It's like, how that works out. And it's never any of the choices I would have made. It's so much better. Okay, now here's my proof. It's like the other thing is, the other thing that somebody a few months back said that this phrase that at any moment in time, like all of us here at this moment in time, we are communicating to one another with whatever we have learned from birth to this moment. That's the only thing we can react to, communicate with, are those thoughts, principles, or ideas at this particular moment. And if any of us, like, and then we're talking about the other people in our lives, our relatives and all that, they are doing the same thing, but we may know the truth because we're in this, we have the course and all this stuff. We know the truth, quote, right? That's where we're coming from. They're coming from whatever they have learned to their point, to this point in their life, which does not include the truth. And so knowing that is what's going on, it's like, I don't have to judge them. I just have to let them be where they are, doing their thing, knowing I'm doing the same thing. And then turn it over to Spirit and say, I always turn it over to Spirit and I say, this holy instant I give to you, you be in charge, please. And then I started adding, it's like everybody that's in this situation at this moment or whatever, you be in charge of them also. And then please, and it's like, and if there's a lesson here for me to learn, make it very simple and clear. Because that is like what I wrote down was Spirit's way. We all are here to help each other learn the lessons we chose to learn in this lifetime. Mine was the search for truth. And it took me my entire life. 79 as I am today. A month from now, it will be 80. And it's like, so I told somebody the other day, I said, persistence always does pay off. I persisted my entire life. Homero, don't ever give up. And you're showing such, like they said, such courage and such, it's just overwhelming just to watch you and listen to you. It's like you're so courageous. And so don't ever give up because it will pay off. Don't know when or whatever. And I don't know what way, but it will be so beautiful. And I have my two examples is my family, my daughter and her husband, they're in this fundamental type converting the Bible teaching Christianity, whatever. And I'm in this course, and then I don't right, and constant. My daughter's the only one I have left, except for my grandson, the only one I don't want to lose her by the arguing and all that stuff. So I just applied the lesson, and I've been doing it for a while now. And so the other two examples of her the last week, I was talking, whatever the conversation was, all of a sudden, it's out of my mouth. I had turned it over to Spirit before, earlier in the day. Out of my mouth came these answers, and it's like flowed. I said, whoa. And it was about just little simple things from the Course and the truth and all that. From my side, my thinking, now. That was it. And it just came out of my mouth. And it's like perfectly. And then I said, and was over. And I didn't have to anything definitive or anything. And then I got a card. The others, my brother and his wife and family, right? I got a card from my sister-in-law Monday. It's like she's never done that. And then I got an email yesterday from my brother with all this information, family, my cousins, and what's going on in their lives. And I said, I've been waiting for years for him to share this stuff. And it's like, oh my tongue, Amy, it's like so amazing. So this is what's going on in my life. And it's like, don't ever give up. Just don't give up. And thank you for, like Homer said, providing this format, this community, this circle of love the safe havens for me to be able to just express. And like Mark said, it's all just because just by putting it out, it takes it out of your body. You don't have to do anything else with it. Just get it out of your body, and you're not going to be judged for it. And that's like, it just flows away. And the same thing that you said, Linda, what was it you said? The movement. It's the movement thing, which everybody's been telling me movement is like motion is lotion for the body. Whatever. It's true. They're talking physically and all this, but you're telling me, I forget what you said. But it's healing. It's so healing. Love is healing because just it is, and we just pour our stuff into the love, and it just heals it. I'm going to stop. Thank you for listening. I see your smile, Mark.
Thank you, Nancy Gail. Thank you, everybody. I'm not going to read our the insights, but it is for lesson 214, which is a review of I'm not a body, I'm free, I'm still as God created me, and I place the future in the hands of God. And doesn't that just say everything that we really desire? That we are placing the future in the hands of God. So I am placing all of our futures in the hands of God, and knowing that there is only now, and that now there is radical love. There is radical love for each other. So that's what I want you to take into this next week. We will be reading again, chapter 30, section 8, changeless reality. Let's take this now moment and bring that into every moment from here until next Tuesday. I love you guys. You're my answered prayer. I keep telling you. Thank you. See y'all next week.
Thank you.
Bye for now.